Hey, Shola, glad to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. So tell me, how has AI changed the world?
Very first thing I should mention is that the term artificial intelligence and its twin term, machine learning, actually first came to fore in 1959. And several researchers over the past decades have been trying to bring the application of artificial intelligence into the workspace, into industry. But recent advancements in computational power and devices has helped us to see massive improvements, which is what we're now seeing. There are massive influx of artificial intelligence applications in healthcare, finance, transportation, and industry as a whole is made possible because of this impact of new computational power. However, because we, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, live in developing economies, we have not been able to see the impact as much as we should. We play a game in AI circles. We say, can you tell me one area? Just try. Tell me one area you think AI cannot affect, and I will tell you exactly how AI can affect it. Because anything that produces data or information has potential to be affected and improved by artificial intelligence.
Okay, before we dive deeper into the whole AI construct, how do you think, specifically in a post-COVID world, how can they help the world recover, particularly sub-Saharan Africa, like you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so I watched one of your recent episodes about broadband and all of that. And all of this, everything I'll say today, just everybody watching should remember that it sits on the backbone of infrastructure. So this is post-COVID. We live in a world where we can't touch each other as much as we want to. We can't gather in places like we want to. We can't even go to school like we want to. So normally, a classroom that would take 1,000 students, we're saying maybe only 50 should be there, or they should not bother to come at all. E-learning is going to be transformed seriously. Traditional computing is able to provide self-paced learning through Coursera and Udemy, but today with artificial intelligence, we can actually design individual learning pathways for each student. It means that if 1,000 people are to be lectured or taught by one lecturer, we can create artificial intelligence models and simulations, AI assistants that can actually teach each student according to what they know. So a student does not need to attend the classes for things he feels that he has the acumen to be able to learn really quickly. And then someone who has a learning disability or a learning disorder will not need to sit in a class where all the guys feel like they're far ahead of them. That's in education. What about in the workplace? A lot can be done to determine which roles are actually important and which one are not. And this is not to get into the argument about AI will take away jobs or not, but to be able to say that humanity should be involved in more creative things that artificial intelligence can't do yet. Maybe most of us should be artists, painters, musicians, because everything like accounting, financial predictions, investment banking, all of those things we see as important careers today can now be done post-COVID with artificial intelligence. So I'm one of those people who studies what we call transhumanism, which is what will humans do after AI actually takes over.
Okay, all right, I had to laugh, but tell me, would AI really take away people's jobs?
I feel that at the beginning, it will start as a conversation around AI taking away people's tasks. So if you have a job right now, let's say you are CFA right now, you're a media professional, thought leader and all of that, AI would help you to take away 70% of your task. So let's say you want to do research, you want to find out what's trending this week on tech trends. Before you do all of that research, you spend hours before artificial intelligence. An artificial intelligence assistant that is either general purpose or tailored to your work can actually help you to conduct that research, and you can spend time with family, do more important things. So at first it will start as taking away the task, day-to-day task that you would normally do. And then later on there will be some jobs that can entirely be taken away. The first artificial intelligence news presenter debuted in China, debuted in China, I think about 2 years ago. But there's been like limitations around that, around natural languages, around being able to do it like a human would actually do, and the spontaneity that comes with your job. So all of that is still a limitation to saying that, oh, I don't think my job can be replaced completely, is being very, very arrogant. Part of artificial intelligence modesty or fourth industrial revolution modesty is to believe that there are certain tasks you do in your work today that are repetitive, certain tasks that are mundane, certain tasks that can be automated, take all of those tasks that can be automated and put them on an artificial intelligence stack, buy some software off the shelf that is empowered by AI, or get a team of people who can actually convert those mundane tasks so you can focus on bigger things that involve creativity, bigger things that involve, creating and making stuff that essentially artificial intelligence for now cannot achieve just yet.
Shola, I mean, if we have this sort of technology available, then why is it so difficult for many parts of Africa to really develop and solve problems? So take, for example, the problem of corruption that is affecting Nigeria. How can we leverage AI technology to deal with this hydra-headed challenge?
I always say that hydra-headed challenges like corruption actually require human effort, not machine effort to solve. Humans would have to have the will force to say they want to solve it. It starts first with resolving the issues of identity, right? If for example, because it's a barrage of technologies that have to combine together to be able to solve that. You're going to involve blockchain, artificial intelligence, sensors. You're going to involve IT and all of that to put everything together. But let me give you a very simple example. One of those examples is in our procurement system. When you are giving a contract out to a contractor and all of that, we need to remove as much human involvement in the decision-making process. As we remove the human face, the human interface, and execute all of these kind of engagements using things like a distributed ledger, otherwise known as smart contracts, enabled by artificial intelligence on the background framework, we will be able to identify using non-repudiation. You know what they say in the scriptures, by two immutable things, which is impossible for God to lie. So immutability is enhanced by artificial intelligence. You can't withdraw money from the treasury and say you're not the one who did it. With artificial intelligence, it would have determined, using all of their digital forensics framework to determine what is going on. The question, however, with all of this grammar that I'm saying right now, are they ready to actually implement it? So it's not a question of can AI, it's a question of will we allow AI to do that work.
Do you think that Nigeria is already taking advantage of AI? And I mean, if there are any examples or use cases, please share with us.
So when I get asked this question, what I say is Nigerians are already taking advantage of artificial intelligence. So everybody who has an iPhone and has Siri, and can say, Siri, call my brother. Siri, do this for me. Siri, what do I have next on my calendar? Nigerians are early adopters, at least a very good number of them who can afford the iPhone. With Google Assistant as well on the Android phone, Nigerians are doing all of that. I know a number of Nigerians as well have actually started buying the semi-autonomous vehicle, the BMW 20, right? So I know that we can consume. Recently at the airport, because of COVID-19, a number of robots were deployed just to do basic inquiry and find out which country you've been and those kind of things. The question, however, is as a country, do we have a national framework to adopt artificial intelligence? Is it part of our national ICT policy? Have we been able to put it in our education framework to make sure that people are learning? I see a lot of effort around private sector who are doing amazing work around educating people across the country. The question, however, is until it becomes a mainstream government effort, where we see that for us to be able to lead, the United States government just dedicated 30% of its unused military budget to artificial intelligence and quantum computing, just so that they can beat the race against China. So how much of our budget, only about 7 to 8% as of my last check, goes to education? We need to jack that up and say 20% will go to education and 15% out of that will go into artificial intelligence because we're trying to secure our space.
Shola, thank you for being on the show today. We wish you all the very best.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. Wish everybody all the best.